Hello all, welcome to Sociology 264, Gender and Society. My name is Joel Thorne. So, gender is far from being a straightforward topic, though it might seem to be at first glance. How do we know what gender is, or what an individual's gender is, to say nothing of their sexuality? We are going to be exploring a lot of terms that might be unfamiliar to some of you. Heterosexual and homosexual are terms that most know, but they might know them as straight and gay. What about bisexual, cis, and trans, or pansexual? Beyond that, we want to explore how these terms and the identities that they represent interact with society at large. This is where terms such as heteronormative come up, terms that describe how institutions and systems perceive gender and sexuality. In this class, you're probably going to encounter ideas and concepts that challenge the way you see the world, that make you uncomfortable. I would ask that you keep an open mind in this class with the goal of gaining a deeper understanding of what an extremely complicated topic this is. Are gender, sexuality, and sex social constructs? Are they biological certainties, or are they subjective properties that individuals get to decide for themselves and to share with the world in the way that best meets their needs? So, one of the terms that you will often hear in terms of gender and sexuality is binary, which is to say that something must be one thing or another. You are either male or female, cis or trans, straight or gay. It might be useful to think in terms of a binary if we're dealing with certain things that are certain and unchanging. But gender and sexuality and sex are fluid terms that can change as people change. For this class, it might be better to think in terms of points along a line rather than there being only two opposite points. By the time we combine all of these different elements, it might be better to think of things like a cube with points floating somewhere in the middle. So I thought the best way to really introduce gender was to talk about me and my family. You've been looking at their pictures all through this. So I have two partners and between 5 and 7 children, depending on how you count such things. And over the course of the last year or so, they've collaborated on several themed family photos, and you're seeing some of the results. Now, for the purposes of our discussion on gender, their names are not important, not as important as who they are and kind of what they represent. So I'm going to leave their names out of this. So, family. In raw numbers, my family has about 10 people in it. In terms of gender, we have at least 4 gender non-binary, 6 females, 4 males, and 1 non-gendered individual. In terms of sexuality, we have 4 bisexual, 4 heterosexual, 2 homosexual, 2 pansexual, and 1 asexual. In terms of biology, we have 4 with male biology and 6 with female biology. I realize that most of these numbers do not add up. And at one point, one of my partners claimed that we practice queer math. Truth is that these are fluid topics that change as each of us changes and grows. My youngest was a trans a few years ago and is now gay and female. I suggested that she give herself time to grow and explore her world and leave any kind of absolute definitions for some future time. Now, while this might seem really unusual to some of you, this is all perfectly normal to me. The ability for people to explore themselves and how they choose to interact and present to the world is what gender and society is all about. What we think of as normal is subjective to the person involved and the society that shaped them. Again, I would ask you to keep an open mind about the topics we're going to explore, be willing to learn, and to question what you know or think you know. Gender and society is about exploring how all of these pieces fit together and how our society can have all these different elements within it. Text I have chosen for this class is Sex, Gender, and Sexuality, 3rd edition by Abby L. Ferber, Kimberly Holcomb, and Trey Wentling. There will be some additional readings, but the contents of this book will be the main focus for this class. I look forward to meeting all of you and learning your individual ideas and your stories as we explore these topics together.